fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up the
Oh my God!
big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Welcome to Silverstone Circuit, welcome to SimSpeed TV, and welcome to OZICAR Formula Vee. Two exciting races ahead of us tonight in one of the most hotly contested, closest racing iRacing leagues in the Australian NZ community at the moment. It's a delight to be here with you live on SimSpeed TV. David Haynes, and I'm joined by our producer, Jay Kennedy, as well. Two races ahead of us tonight. 15 and a 30-minute race qualifying, just wrapping up for that first race. And here is how all of our drivers sit after 2 rounds. Ryan Howe, a couple points clear of Michael Skurlock, and it's Joseph Jesus in 3rd. You can see the rest of our standings there. But this is the National Circuit of Silverstone that we are going to be racing on. The old pit lane and through a controversial corner in recent times at the start of the laps at Cops Corner, and then down towards Maggots. The track then turns onto the National Straight and leads us right back towards the end of the lap with Brooklands, Luffield, and Woodcott's actually a bit further around. It's the one on the outside of the pit entry. Almost a nothing corner in these cars. Same can be said for Cops. At full speed, these Formula V's can almost take it flat out. Not always. You've got to be on the right line. So we'll see which of our drivers are precise and which of our drivers are brave. Jay, this is, a very simple, very flat out layout. We've got 40 plus cars. You are not going to be able to find a single camera shot tonight that hasn't just been crammed full of V's.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask with how many cars we've got to do both, but I'm up for the challenge. It's going to be a very, very cool night of racing, and looking forward to seeing how it does play out. And another very, very close qualifying session is wrapped up as well.
It's Cam Dance in 3rd, Michael Skurlock well and truly in the points hunt. He's 4th on the grid. Then it's Lee Partridge, Daniel Hederscheid, Chris Noble, and Southpaw racer Reese Gardner bringing out the top 8. Behind that, then, it's Aaron Freund, Nathan Verney, Jake Kostecki, Ryan Howe, your championship leader in 12th, then Simon Clayson, Sean McKenzie, Kirk Broadhurst, and Jamie Skeller. Big grid. We'll race through the rest here. Ryan Jones is down in 17th, then Braden McDermott, Dennis Hancock, Jeremy Bush, Callum Heinrich, Ryan Simpson, Stuart Crawford, and Theo Taylor. Got Stafford Marsland, Ray Oliver, Matthew Guintini, the highest of the Guintini brothers, from Philip Howe, Ira Felberg, Rick Berger. And then there's Aaron Guintini, Mikey Harland, Mick Taylor, Max Donnelly, Ashley Knowles, Matthew Harriet, Leon Williams, Paul Ward, Vic Bent-Beltson, and Matthew Joy. A nice round 40 Vs, and look at how far this grid stretches all the way around Woodcote. Good thing that the green starting lights are repeated in a couple of places, because right at the back here, Matthew Joy is a long, long way from pole position. It is a huge grid. It is a short track, and we are setting them all up for a 15-minute race. Jay, this could be carnage.
100% could be carnage. We saw carnage last night at this same track. Different layout, same track here in the MX-5s. Going to be carnage tonight in this.
They rev. The green flag drops, a lot of smoke in the air, and as always with the V's, some drivers get away cleanly, some bog down, some spin up the tyres with the open differential potentially, and there's already a little bit of a pressure point there around 4th and 5th as they make their way flat out through Cops for the first time. Pole sitter DeJesus leads, and he is going to have the inside on Chaz Mostert as they come towards the first real braking zone, but Chaz, super brave, wide entry around the outside, picks up the throttle and he's through into the lead, and already Jesus is under pressure from Cam Dance. Lee Partridge is already up a spot into 4th, and our big grid is trying to make its way cleanly through the first of a couple of corners here. Heinrich's gonna end up at the back of the field. Oh, someone's lost a wheel there as well. Who have we got? Would have been Mikey Harland. It still doesn't look right though. Sure is. We often see a couple phases to this race. They start on bone cold tyres. Car very slippery, moves around a lot, and then pressure comes up. We come into the next phase of the race. Mostert, obviously, very strong on the cold tyres, but the slipstream is massive on this layout for these cars. Down the pit straight, down the national straight, here, there, and everywhere. Even on the way down towards Maggots and Beckett's here, you can see drivers having a look, having a lunge, sometimes leaving some smoke as they try to change gears, and also locking up some tyres here and there. The drivers out wide, but it is Mostert leading from Dance, from Jesus, from Partridge, from Heddershide, our top 5 at the moment. But you can see what a slipstream train they all are behind Chaz Mostert as they head in towards the braking zone here. Sean McKenzie, is he losing out a little bit there?
Just lost 2 spots on the straight there, so I'm not sure what's happened to him in that little run, but he did lose a couple of spots. You can get a slowdown penalty if you are aggressive coming up to the turn in at Maggots, so Maggots and Beckett's in that area. So if you do run a little bit aggressive, you can find yourself losing a whole heap of ground due to that slowdown penalty. It looks like maybe Jamie Scaller got one of those as well. But at the front, Brian Howe just set the fastest lap, and now Mostert, Dance and the rest, they're all together. Once again, that lead that Chaz Mostert had at about 6/10 is all gone.
Yeah, if you count it from the front, it's Formula V, and there is another look. Dance gets it a bit wrong. He's off the line, and your pole sitter, Jesus, is going to try to slip some of that away from him. This is where they rejoin the modern F1 track as well, onto the Wellington straight as it is. So, yeah, very short cut through to make up the national layout. The view from Heddershide, he doesn't know which lane to pick. It's shades of that TCR battle they posted on the iRacing Facebook the other day.
Very much so. The only issue is we've got double the axles that we've got that are involved in this battle from that battle we saw the other day.
The other issue is you're not Nick Skariev.
Yeah, very true. I sound a little bit different. 13 cars in this lead battle. Top 13 separated by 3 seconds, and there's nothing between them at all. Jake Kostecki's been a big mover. He's up 4 spots, and Ryan Jones at the back of this group is up 5 spots as well. And he just sets the fastest lap of the race.
You can see from that angle, we're starting to see a split between the packs. You've got your top 13 for the lead, and then from Kirk Broadhurst backwards, a little bit of a gap towards Braden McDermott, who is, I mean, I want to say a mother duck, but I've never seen a mother duck with that many ducklings. When you look at that, pack. What kind of herd is that he is trying to lead, and they are going crazy behind him as well, trying to outbrake each other, trying to take position. Is that where you can get the slowdown from running out wide there?
You can do it from running out wide, but you can also do it from running out wide on your turn-in as well if you're very aggressive and hanging it out wide on turn-in. So both of those are possible slowdown positions, as the lead pack still well and truly heated. Cam Dance has given up the 2nd position, and now he's under pressure from Skurlock as well. So Cameron Dance doesn't look like he's wanting to be up right in that first couple of positions. Quite content being a little bit further back.
Yep, no doubt. So it's 8 more laps to go, and they are very quick laps around here on this short national layout. Just over a minute is what they are. Mostert is leading, Jesus in 2nd, Dance in 3rd, Skurlock in 4th, Lee Partridge in 5th. You called out some of the names in this pack that have made up some good spots as well. Ryan Jones is up 5, Broadhurst is up 4, Jake Kostecki is right in the middle of it, up 4 positions as well.
Biggest mover overall though, Vic Ben Belton and Max Donnelly both up 9 positions. But lead group is starting to see some other big movers. Reece Gardner's just decided to get a little bit aggressive. He's up 3 spots on this lap alone. Might get another one here gets past Nathan Verney, does get it done, so he's now up in the 9th position.
We are starting to see a little more fracturing in the packs. You know, your top 8 now getting away from this one led by Crayon Man himself, Reece Gardner. That's a bit of smoke. Ira Felberg's facing the wrong way in the runoff as well. So something might have happened down there at the end of the Wellington Straight. You'd almost bet money on it with 40 Formula V's. And this is pretty aggressive here as well around Sean McKenzie and Skeller and Ryan Simpson. Sort of 3 wide, almost 4 wide there. No room on the inside. Contact absolutely inevitable, and the drivers behind have nowhere to go. And that's a huge, huge incident and a rollover and a half for someone else there. Call that a race for 3 or 4 of these drivers. Unfortunately, there was never going to be 3 wide room down into turn 1.
I think that was Jeremy Bush that may have been doing the rolling over there. And, Sean McKenzie was the one that lost the wheel off the wagon at the front. Well, once again, Cops Corner having a little bit of an issue when there's side-by-side contact.
No one's going to say the guy on the inside was wide of the apex, though. He absolutely had no room.
There was no apex.
At the apex there. So Skurlock's come up into 2nd place in the lead pack here. That's still led by Chaz Mostert. Then Jesus and Dance and Hedderscheid is your top 5 at the moment. Jake Kostecki and Chris Noble are bringing up the rear of the tail, but you've got a great view here from Kostecki and Noble as you look forward at our leading pack, being just a little more sensible than some of the other packs, and that's helping them get away and continue to lead. But a change for the lead here as Skurlock gets out in front of Mostert. Mostert's going to get a better run though out of there onto the Wellington Straight, and he's going to want to take that immediately right back. There they are, side by side for the lead, heading down towards the end of the Wellington Straight. Skurlock's got the inside. Mostert clearly with a bit more speed. He's looking around the outside, and I thought he was going to get all the way around the outside there, but there's still just a tiny bit of overlap that gives him the inside into the next corner. Now it's starting to get more aggressive as we're on lap 7, heading towards lap 8 of 12.
Pack's starting to get a little bit more feisty, isn't it? And they've definitely broken away from that secondary group, which had Reece Gardner, Ryan Jones, Nathan Verney, etc. They're now about 3 seconds back, and their fight has also fractured as well. So the group's definitely starting to fracture, but this group...
Jesus goes 3 wide on the inside, then there's contact. Mostert to Skurlock on the outside, almost a repeat of what we saw not long ago. 3 wide does not seem to work through Cops Corner there. That was aggressive from Jesus to go 3 wide down the inside there. He went for the lead, hasn't quite happened. Now Mostert is in, Jesus into 2nd, and Skurlock's probably going to be a little angry about that one, I think. One of the championship contenders there, and he's gone and lost a whole heap of time. I don't think he picked up a world of damage, but you go for a little spin here, you're going to lose 10 positions easy.
Yeah, well, Skurlock was, in 1st position across the start-finish line. He's now back in 14th. So he's a long way back just from that one little moment just then. And he's in that pack behind Reece Gardner. That was the pack that had Jamie Scaller and Stuart Crawford and all of those guys in it. Skurlock is leading up that group. So that's the 4th train in this race. So he's a long way back from the leaders now. Way back, he's got himself back up in 13th, but it's still a long way back from where he was. The group behind now has Ryan Howe, Ryan Jones, and Nathan Verney together. They've pulled away from Reece Gardner and Kirk Broadhurst in their own little battle. So, oh no, this is going to be bad. Yeah,
Jake Kostecki, pretty in pink, is putting some of the moves on. He came up into 3rd. He's looking for 2nd. He's looking for the lead almost as well. 3 wide through the right-hander here. That's Jesus in blue and white and black, Kostecki in pink, and this is the rear view from Chaz Mostert, who's going to be praying that for the remaining 3.5 laps, they keep fighting like this. It's 2 lanes, 3 cars deep, all behind Chaz Mostert here. It's Kostecki and Jesus and Hedderscheid and Dance and Partridge and Noble all battle over who could be in the podium, who could be in the top 5. They're still 2 wide, 3 cars deep through here. Jesus wants to hold on to 2nd, so he comes around the outside to take the inside, but Kostecki up high gets the throttle open a little earlier. We come to my favourite bit through Woodcote here, where everyone shifts from 3rd to 4th at the same time, and there's just a sequence of puffs of smoke as they all change gear.
Very cool, the puff of oil smoke as they all change gear in these cars. And interesting that the battling that these guys are doing are enabling that Ryan and Ryan battle to close up. They just gained a second on that lap there. So when we said before they were 3 seconds clear, it's now only a second and a half. So we could see us back with a 9-car, maybe 10-car battle for the win with only 3 laps to go.
Fastest lap of the race, I think, looks like it belongs to Jesus at like a 1:10 flat, but all these guys have been in the mid 1:11s. That lap just ended. They were too wide through here, there, and everywhere, and it is allowing the Flying Ryans to try to catch them up. Look at everyone try to follow everyone else's slipstream as well. Mostert's still leading. Kostecki looking for second here. Hederscheid's the one battling him now. Mostert a second clear of everyone as they've kept battling too wide. He's going to be counting his lucky stars. He's put on his racing pants tonight, or maybe at home he's not wearing any at all. Who knows? But he's leaving second and third in his dust as he's going to start 2 laps to go. And these are 2 very short laps, the shortest lap of Silverstone you can do on the national layout. And they're looking for 3 wide into Cops again. And there's other drama in the field as well. Of course there's going to be with 40 cars coming to the head of a race like this.
Crazy how much paddling is going on. Ryan Howe, that lap there, did a 1:10.7, leading that secondary group. Slowest car in the lead group was a 1:11.1, so they have picked up the pace a little bit, but there's still a little bit of an advantage to the secondary group. But they're 3 wide on the exit as they come onto the Wellington Straight and rejoin the Grand Prix circuit through the shortcut. Mostert now is out to a 1.5 second lead. He's growing that gap.
Yeah, at this point, I think second and third have absolutely given up on catching him. They've jockeying over the podium positions. He's Kostecki down the inside there. Dance through as well. Slots the middle of the gap, and he's suddenly and somehow up into third, wanting to catch and stick with Jake Kostecki. And I'll tell you what, the Supercars drivers have worked their way forward in the field in this one, haven't they? We're starting final lap. Mostert and Kostecki, 1 and 2, but you would not write down position number 2 in ink for Jake Kostecki just yet, because here comes Chaz Mostert on him. Sorry, Cam Dance on him. Dance goes to the inside. Hederscheid's going to follow through on that through Cops Corner. DeJesus around the outside of Lee Partridge. Chris Noble at the back of this pack thinking, what on earth am I going to be able to do with just a kilometre or so of racing left in this one? Chaz Mostert getting away. Cam Dance on the line that he wants through this right-hander and onto the Wellington Straight, but it is going to be a huge slipstream on him now, as that is a good run around the outside from Kostecki, who wants to get clear, and now Cam Dance is going to come across and give him the slipstream. Lee Partridge looking down the middle. Look at Dance, he says, 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, as he swaps across, and Kostecki gets airborne, gets sideways in front of Noble. Bit of contact there with Partridge. Here's the next pack. That's huge impact there with Ryan Jones, I think it might have been. Chaz Mostert can maybe only see it as a speck in his mirrors because it was behind him, and he's going to come around to take the win in the sprint race like he did a week ago, if I remember correctly. It's looking like Dance and Hederscheid to complete the podium at the moment, unless they make contact. And where was the timing line? Because DeJesus was bearing down on them, Partridge was bearing down on them. Here comes everyone else, non-stop action at Silverstone National in the V's, and limping it 3 tyres on the ground. Here he comes, Ryan Jones, isn't it?
That is Ryan Jones. He's made it home in 14th. Wouldn't have been the way he would have wanted to bring it home, but somehow made sure he finished the race. And guess what? They're still battling back in the field. This is Matthew Joy, Mick Taylor, and Theo Taylor in there too. You can see Callum Heinrich, Michael Skurlock are all in here. Great battles the whole way through the field. We just couldn't show all of them.
No, this would be one of those 15-minute races where you'd have to make a 1-hour highlights package to show everything. True. Wow, wow, wow. I'm seeing in a 15-minute sprint race, we had 14 drivers have to come through the pit lane to take repairs or damage or just retire. So there was quite a lot going on in that one. But here is how they crossed that timing line. Chaz Mostert takes the win by about 2 seconds or so from DeJesus, and Dance completes the podium. I I don't know what happened there right at the end, but they made contact through Woodcote, and they still brought that transponder across the timing line no matter the damage on the cars, and that's what matters. And Heddershide for 4th, Lee Partridge for 5th, Ryan Howe in 6th, and Chris Noble in 7th. Then Gardner and Verney and Jamie Skeller was the top 10. Matthew Guintini plus 16 positions to grab 11th. Simon Clayson in 12th, plus 10 spots for Stuart Crawford. Ryan Jones, a couple wheels short of a Formula V there, manages to get across the line in 14th. Then Aaron Guintini, Rick Berger, Matthew Harriott, Aaron Friend, Max Donnelly, and Vic Bent Veltzen was the top half of the field.
Going to the second half of our drivers, Leon Williams and Theo Taylor, 21st and 22nd. Then we go back to Matthew Joy, Vic Taylor, Jake Kostecki, unfortunately, is officially DNF. Not crossed the line, unfortunately, after that incident at the end. So he's classified as 25th position. Michael Skurlock will be the last driver on the lead lap. He'd have to come in and get some damage repaired after that contact at turn 1 with 2 laps to go. We've got Callum Heinrich, 1 lap down. Rest of the drivers 2 laps down or more. Kirk Broadhurst, Braden McDermott, Ryan Simpson, over the page to Paul Wald, Ashley Knoll, Sean McKenzie, who we saw involved in that big one, along with Jeremy Bush at turn 1. Halfway through the race, Philip Howe, Ira Felberg, Stafford Marsland, Dennis Hancock, Ray Oliver, and Mikey Harland, all also DNFing that race. What a fantastic race that was. What a crazy race that was.
Bonkers start to finish. It was always going to be on the national layout with 40 cars. Do we have time for a replay of that podium? I think they crossed the line on top of each other.
See what I can do.
Maybe we have to wait till like after 8:30 p.m. to be able to broadcast something like that. Who knows? But it was
I think I can do it.
A little intimate in who finished where on the podium positions. They managed to carry their momentum despite the contact and the squeeze through Woodcote. And of course, we know Mostert winning handily, I suppose. Just managed to leave everyone to battle behind him in his wake. And DeJesus and Dance completing the podium. It was all kicking off there. If you hear a sound in the background, it's Jay's cogs working. They haven't been oiled lately, but here we go. Right at the end, there's Jake Kostecki going around in the background, and this is what we wanted to see here. So that would be Lee Partridge there behind Dance, wouldn't it?
No, it's Daniel Heddershide.
Daniel Heddershide behind Dance. So Heddershide somehow loses out through all of this. He goes to the inside of Woodcote. Runs out of space there. And there's where. Okay. So Jesus manages to pick up 2 right at the finish line there. And then Dance and Heddershide both ended up losing out 1 spot to DeJesus in that one. Okay.
That was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely it was. Action from the front to the back of the field. And that's just race number 1 of OZICAR Formula V tonight. We take a little break here on SimSpeed TV. And when we come back, it is 1 lap, 1 opportunity qualifying that is going to set potentially a quite jumbled grid for the 30-minute compulsory pit stop race. Everything we just had in race number 1, but for twice as many laps. Throw in a little bit of strategy seasoning on the top of that one. Stick around, because coming up ever so shortly, race number 2 of OZICAR Formula V here on SimSpeed.
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRacing roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums.
I went as a spectator to Silverstone, walked around the car park where you saw lots of racing cars and Bentleys, and I saw one that appealed to me.
Yeah.
So I sat on the step all day until the owner came along. And I said, how much do you want for this 8-litre Bentley, a 2-seater, very powerful car? Always said £250. I said, oh, I can't afford that. So I said, let's go and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
So he said, well, what could you afford? I said, £200.
Yeah.
So he said, right, done. So he slapped my hand like that. Deal was done. He delivered the next day.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Well, welcome back. I hope your heart rate has gotten somewhere close back to resting after race number 1. Mine might take a couple more minutes, but to get it going once again, in a second we are going to have qualifying for the race number 2. And this one, it's very simple. Each driver gets 1 lap to set their best, and that sets the grid. And on a short track like this, the Silverstone National layout, that becomes an even bigger challenge. You don't have much of an outlap to build your tyre pressure, which is so critical for open wheelers like this to get that pressure up. They get no tyre warmers, and the cars are quite sensitive to the tyre pressures. And then a very short lap. You cannot make a mistake in any of the corners, or it will cost you big time, and you'll find yourself maybe even towards the tail end of a 40-car grid. This is serious pressure on a 1-lap qualifying effort for all of our drivers. And if you put none in, you're starting from the back of the grid, the back of a 40-car grid.
Yeah, being at the back in this one, you don't want to be. And it's going to be a very, very interesting battle for this 1-lap qualifying. And the positive is they've got a little bit more time to get themselves accustomed to the track than what they did last week. They a little bit extra time because the lap is a little bit shorter than last time out, so they can maybe get their breath after that warm-up period before they get out there. But first driver's leaving the pit lane, getting ready to go. It's going to be intense for sure.
This short laps in the session does give us probably the chance to check in on a couple drivers as they do their qualifying. Are we on a lap or starting a lap here, Jay?
About to start a lap. This is Ryan Simpson. About to start his first flying lap.
I'll be hoping that they can take it near flat out through Cops, but that's one of the things the drivers would have all been working on with their outlap. It's trying to have the tyre pressure and the confidence. What's our speed like through Cops? Starts out really wide, makes it to the apex, and then hopes to keep it on the track through the exit. Plenty of respect for the curb on the exit is a good start. And then we saw a lot of different lines that some drivers take down in towards the braking zone here. Because it's a curved braking zone, you probably want to be at that curve on the left. But we saw some overtaking moves where drivers really use the fact that the track opens up into that corner to their advantage. And then you're hoping to just nail all of your gear shifts, because one bad shift is really going to cost you here down the Wellington Straight. No DRS, unfortunately, in a Formula V. Goodness knows what kind of nonsense would happen if we did have it. I think the racing is... We need like an anti-DRS to keep them a little further away from each other, it would seem. And then wide, sweeping arc here hoping to carry some speed towards the line. Definitely probably cutting a lot of wood here to take the shortest line towards the checkered flag right up on that curve there. Timing line is just out the exit there. You can see where the flag stand for that start finish is.
Ryan Simpson's lap did not count, so he's had one of those issues talking about earlier. Run yourself a little bit off the circuit and find
Did
your
he
time
blink at the
invalidated.
start of the lap?
Yeah, well, that too may have helped him. Jesus goes P1. Michael Skurlock just P3.
This looks very preparatory. That line through there to just really, really maximize the exit for Chaz Mostert. One race win under his belt. Has not yet clean swept around here in OZICAR. That's also a wide start through Woodcote. He's probably going to take a very different line come the end of this lap. Right on board with the wow, such doge, very many Mostert car. As you can see, fourth gear, absolutely up towards the curbs on the inside. A bit more of the curb on the outside than we saw from Simpson. Here is Mostert then coming down towards a very different maggots than you get on the Grand Prix layout here on the National. It's got to be further to the left, bring it to a tight apex on the right here as he opens it up through third gear, carrying the speed and the momentum onto the Wellington straight. The shift lights start to come on. Four, I think we've got like 3.5 to 4 shift lights there before he's gone up in towards fourth gear. And then basically the last braking zone of the lap here, throwing it in the tail, very loose there, but that helps him rotate and get all the way across the curb to then open it up into, functionally, the final corner here, trying to pick the right point to pick up the throttle, and then smooth and clean to the line is what Chaz Mostert needs. Where's he going to be as almost everyone else has put in their qualifying lap? You can see the timing tower to the left, the shortest run he can possibly make to the timing line about there. He's gone to second place, missing out by 1/100 of a second on pole position. Oh, so close between Jesus and Mostert. And then the two of them, 2 seconds clear of Cam Dance there as well. So the perfect line, millimeter perfect for Chaz Mostert, but he just needed a teeny bit more luck or something out there if he was going to take away pole position, still on the front row.
What a good lap that was, though. Very, very close to getting that pole position. Quickly run through the grid, because no doubt they're going to grid up really, really quick like they did in that last race. So we'll quickly smash this grid out.
Here's me taking a big intake of breath. On the pole position, Joseph De Jesus is going to start from the very front of the field. Chaz Mostert just behind him completing the front row, then Cam Dance, Michael Skurlock, Ryan Howe, Ryan Jones, Reese Gardner, and Aaron Freund. It's the usual suspects up front, and some that came together in race number 1 as well. Chris Noble, Nathan Verney, Jamie Skeller, Sean McKenzie, Kirk Broadhurst, Dennis Hancock, Ashley Knowles, and Stafford Marsland is the top 16. Got Stuart Crawford, Simon Clayson, Theo Taylor, Mick Taylor for an all-Taylor row 10. Ray Oliver, Matthew Guintini, Ira Felberg, Mikey Harlan, Matthew Harriet, Aaron Guintini, Max Donnelly, Rick Berger, Philip Howe, Leon Williams, Matthew Joy, Paul Ward, Daniel Hederscheid, Jake Kostecki, all the way back in 34th by my numbers with no qualifying time, and he's joined in some good company here as well by Jeremy Bush, Lee Partridge, Vic Bent-Veltzen, Braden McDermott, and Callum Heinrich. We said one shot, not everyone's going to get a qualifying time, because one mistake could see you starting at the back of the grid. Someone who could have finished on the podium in race number 1, Jake Kostecki, is starting all the way back in the 30s. He's still got some pit strategy to happen in this 30-minute race, though. Compulsory 2-tyre change for everyone in the field. Are they going to take it early? Are they going to take it late in the race? Time will tell. Some of these drivers will be having that running through their mind right now, thinking, okay, if we have a problem on lap number 1, we come in and clear that pit stop. Otherwise, if you can break away again, like Chaz Mostert could do in race number 1, I think you stay out there. Still waiting on Mr. Mostert on the pole position, and he's not there when we go green. Oh, yes, he is. De Jesus on pole there is going to get away, but not as well as Chaz Moss in second place. He's looking down the inside of Cops into turn number 1, and now he's the race leader. A lot more too wide on cold tyres from everyone else as well.
Yeah, lots of too wide the whole way back through the field, and there's a car around that looks like it may be Ashley Knowles at a moment there at the back of the field. Ira Feldberg
Mr. Brewster's been roasted.
Oh, Ryan Jones are in.
Reece Gardner going right around the outside. Some other drivers having some issues. That is Ryan Jones. He's back on 3 wheels again. Not one lap later from race number 1. He looks beached in race number 2, and whatever happened there, he'll be angry. The top 5 are getting away. Mostert still leads them from Jesus, then Dance, Ryan Howe, and Michael Skurlock. And there's a split in the field before you come to this pack, with Reece Gardner leading Friend and Skeller and Verney.
Very, very spicy pack, but only 5 in the lead group this time. These guys are going to want to work together a little bit better than they did in that last race. So working against each other and enabled the pack to split and fracture. This race
Pit entry is a busy place.
Oh no, oh no.
Lines through Cops. Some other packs going on here on lap number 1. They're still bringing the tyres up to pressure, but we've got Lee Partridge, Rick Berger, and Philip Howe. In addition to the drivers who had to tow on lap number 1, Ryan Jones, Chris Noble, and Ira Feldberg. Ryan Simpson, I think, didn't take the start. It's all going on again. So much happening in so many places, and it's happened again with Sean McKenzie in the middle of that one. One of the Guintinis on the outside and trying to see who's right behind him. Could be Ray Oliver.
And Sean McKenzie up on 3 wheels as well, so he's got too much damage to get that car moving. He's going to try and limp it back to the pits, but it's going to be a big, big struggle for him. You can see the guys that come in to make their pit stop are not too far away. Lee Partridge is coming out of the pits now. I'll tell you what, it's 3/4 of a lap you're losing just from your pit stop in this race. It's such a slow pit lane, and it's such a short lap. These guys have to really strategize and think about when they want to take their stop, because they could find themselves as lap traffic. You don't want to do that, because that will almost put you that lap down straight away.
2 sides to that coin though. Chaz Mostert, Jesus, Dance, Howe, and Skurlock, the lead 5 here, are going to start catching lap traffic very quickly, especially as more drivers are in the lane right now as well. It is kind of like NASCAR short tracks where you make a green flag pit stop, you go 2 laps down. Well, it's not that dramatic here, and the pit stop times aren't that long, but a pit stop puts you 3/4 of a lap down. That just plays into the kind of traffic you get on a short national layout like this.
It's a crazy, crazy track in regards to length. You've got the 5 corners really at this circuit, but it doesn't take much for you to get around, and half of the corners that you've got here are full throttle or not far off it, so you've got to be very, very careful in how you actually handle this track and how you work yourselves around, and you've got to work out who you can trust in your groups as well. You can see here that the Jesus, Mostert and Dance, they'll know that they can trust each other from the races last week. They know that they'll all be thinking the same way. Let's work together and pull away from the rest of the guys behind. Skurlock was in that group last week too, but Ryan Howe, while he's a championship leader, he didn't have as a successful week last week as he did in week 1. So he's the unknown for these guys in this front group. It's his chance to say, hey, I can mix it with you guys, and you can trust me. We're going to work together and get away from this group behind.
Looking good for Mostert as well, who's able to just swoop around the outside of Cops and then continue to hold on to the lead. Behind, things are a little crazier. I saw Friend and Gardner off the road on the exit of Cops using that paved runoff. There goes any 0 incident bonuses for those guys running out there. And it looks like Friend and Skeller side by side here. Real good Formula V livery for Aaron Friend.
V-dub logos everywhere. Ripping the original.
Not a Volkswagen diesel, but they are leaving plenty of
looks like it with
oil smoke here and there and everywhere.
Surprised. Well, you'd think it would be with how much smoke they do leave behind. Is just see in the background there, Reece Gardner is not in that group. It's because he's there in the pit lane. So he's decided that time is now. Get out of that group because they are losing ground. They've lost 4.5 seconds, and you can see visually how much ground they lost on that last lap because they were closer that previous lap. They are now. So we're losing ground. This lead group definitely working together very, very nicely. The 5 are all happy to change positions. Know that as long as they stay in the group of 5 and don't fight too hard to cost themselves time, they'll break away and one of the 5 will be the winner of the race. The only issue with that is they could find themselves in trouble with lap traffic, as you said before.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily know what everyone else is going to do on pit strategy. If you're thinking of pitting this lap while everyone else is going long, you might get aggressive in that pack, try to get your way to the front before you pit stop. The fact that they don't know when everyone else is going to pit in their group could actually hurt the cohesion of the leading 5. Someone decides they kind of want to get a bit backstabby in there. Who knows? This is that next pack for 6. Skeller, super defensive. Vernie trying to follow around the outside. Brian picking and choosing who he wants to buddy up with. Again, fair weather Friend. And silence I deserve from that one. Hancock and Broadhurst bring up the back of this next group of 5. So 5 for the lead, 5 behind, and Jake Kostecki's up on 2 wheels again, going bowling. I don't think he started that, but 4 cars involved by the end. Aaron Guintini, one of them as well. And Max Donnelly, his Twitch viewers will probably party to quite a ride there.
If I can get this thing working like I was trying to do earlier that didn't quite want to work. Looks like I have, so here we go. Yellow and black car there is the one of Max Donnelly that we want to look at, and as you said, involved in this was the pink car. Jake Kostecki.
Kostecki looked for 3 wide and it just doesn't happen. Then he into Guintini, into Donnelly, and then Kostecki comes out and whatever the third car was. You really can't tell from that front on angle. It's just Formula V everywhere. It's a helicopter shot or an onboard that would tell the real story. It'd be so easy to blame the wrong person or say something wrong just from that short angle. Pit stops really kicking off though now 7 laps in, and someone has overshot their pit box. 40 cars, we got to use every pit box and then some, and there might be some of the drivers who qualified lower down or didn't qualify at all who have the less favoured pit boxes.
Well, I just saw, you both saw there, Daniel Hederscheid after a reverse in pit lane by trying to find his pit box. And the interesting thing is his pit box is right at the start-finish line, so the timing and scoring could mess up a little bit too. So he could find himself a lap down or getting a black flag if things go amiss. Sometimes there's some funny things around the start line when you have to reverse back. I also saw a car that was stopped on the front straight. We also just saw a car stopped infield there for the last section. Not sure who that was.
Got out to
Front
5.
still continuing on.
Everyone from here to 21st place still out and running. The drivers who have pitted, Reese Gardner in 22nd leads them. Nathan Verne, who's also cleared that compulsory pit stop. Then they got a bit of time to lead Partridge and Daniel Hederscheid and Jake Kostecki, who very understandably went ahead and made his pit stop after maybe knocking the toe out a little bit. So pretty much half the field have pitted, half the field haven't. And what pace these guys have got and what pace the pitted drivers have got is going to determine some of those positions. So you're in a shadow battle against drivers on a different strategy to you at the moment.
There is the last runner on the lead lap, Matthew Guintini. He's coming up to the hairpin now, and have a look at how far behind the leaders are. I'm going to say 2 more laps and these guys are going to pit to make sure that they don't run into lap traffic.
Yeah, no doubt they'll be looking at what kind of traffic they're catching, and if there is a lot of it happening, you'd say, you know what, it's pit stop time. It's not for any of our top 5 just yet. As they come around though, they're still doing 1 minute 10s, so that's the kind of pace you'd want. You'd stay out so long as you're still able to do 1 minute 10s. Once they dropped off into 11s or 12s, then it's time to get out of that situation and do something different. Jamie Skeller is thinking that from about 5th place or so though. He comes into the pit lane, big wide Grand Prix pit lane, but no pit lane speed limiter installed on these cars. It's all the work of your own eyes watching the gauge and your right foot.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. When we had Kaz in for an interview last week, he talked about how difficult it was to actually get himself to that pit lane speed limit. and the difficulty he had was more in how aggressive he could be to get it down to the speed, and he found himself losing a little bit of ground just on that. So I'm sure, well, I think you saw what I saw. In the practice session before the first race tonight, every single run, he'd finish it off with an aggressive pit entrance to see how fast he could take that pit entrance. So he's been practicing that every opportunity he could get. So I expect to see Chaz may not lose the ground like he did last week on the pit stops at that point anyway. He might still have trouble with the pit stop itself.
We kind of gave him a bit of a ribbing about it last week, didn't we, as well? We said, good work in the pits.
Don't say we, it was you.
I say we. Okay, you know, it was 100%. It was 100% just me. I brought it up. I was like, good work in the sprint races. When are you going to sort out your pit stops so that you can clean sweep around? I think was my wording.
Maybe you motivated him.
Oh, really? You think that'd work? I don't think racing drivers have any ego at all.
No. None that I've ever met have.
Commentators, none either.
No. Especially commentators at race as well.
So this is what we've been seeing. The swap back and forth between Mostert and De Jesus. Howe and Dance and Skurlock, I think, even more patient. Just third, fourth, and fifth, and they've just sat there the last couple of laps while these two have swapped it. Mostert, I think, pretty used to. Well, he's battled wheel to wheel with the number 97 a couple of times before. Again, all of them are gonna stay out, but we're only down to the top 14 who haven't pitted yet. This is a spin from Crawford, one of the drivers who hasn't pitted yet. So maybe he'll decide those that's his sign to pit.
He was in a battle there with Mikey Harland. I'm not sure if there was contact. Harland decides to come in with Crawford in as well, and behind it looks like McDermott maybe staying out. Jeremy Bush is coming in. So that 14 is now down to 11.
It just means more cars that could become lapped traffic for our leaders. Looking at our leader, backwards at the rest of the pack, and this is what seems to happen. On the pit straight, they swap. On the Wellington straight, they swap. Definitely don't really see De Jesus rolling out of it to give that lead up. It's more Mostert gets a good run and takes it away from him. A narrow entry there. Just starting to cost each other a little bit of time. Still doing 1 minute 10s here at the lead. You've got to look at Bernie's the highest car that has pitted, doing a 10.6. So they really have to be careful if they start dropping down into the 111s, because those cars that have stopped are doing good lap times as well.
Yeah, and the second group as well are doing identical lap times now as well. Remember before they were doing a lot faster, this group from that group behind, but now that's plateaued out. They're all doing very, very even laps. So lead group, as you said, need to be careful in regards to their pace. Lead car that has pitted now is Reece Gardner, who's just taken the lead away from Nathan Rooney. And the 11 cars left to pit, and we'll see if any more decide to come in now. But this battle at the front, I think I get the feeling that something's going to break out or happen in this group. Someone's going to lose some patience, or someone's going to make an error, because the concentration level needed to race this hard in this sort of pack for this long is quite high. And someone, when you've got this many guys so close in this sort of thing, in this sort of a battle, has to make a mistake. There's no way that it doesn't happen. As you just may have seen pop up on screen, Daniel Hedershaw's name popped up. The reason being, he's just at the fastest lap of the race from P16. He's not long done his pit stop. Cameron Dance thought about it. He thought about it, and I think he was trying to see if someone ahead of him would go in too, but it didn't happen.
Well, what I think could be the key moment here is we're at the halfway point of the race right now, and that might be the point where a lot of them really, really start thinking about their pit stop. This is what the run in towards the lane looks like for Aaron Freund. He's pitting from, might have even been 6th place, having scored in 7th. Got a nice little bridge gantry support in the middle of the garages here that he has to navigate his way around as he tries to search out where his pit garage is. The assignments get changed after qualifying, so where you left from to start qualifying will have changed between then and the race where you're searching for where your team are now.
Which is going to be different from where you were in practice as well, so it's very, very strange. And there's another fastest lap, this time from Lee Partridge, a 1:10.1. Lee Partridge in 11th position, so He's now starting to punch in some really quick times. He's not far behind that Reese Gardner, Nathan Verney battle pack. Those guys, remember, they were only about 3 or 4 seconds back when they pitted from these guys. So if they can punch out some really quick lap times and maybe take 4 tenths, 5 tenths every single lap, they'll be right there with these guys by the time they come into the pits and finish their stop.
I do want to check out Verney and Gardner and Partridge and Hancock because they really are the next battle pack. Great timing. Good work, me, I suppose. But look at that. Verney rolls out of the throttle, lets Gardner slot into second in the train here, and almost over-unders him as well. See, this is what these guys probably want to avoid doing because, you know, they've had 5 laps here where they could be taking half a second a lap out of the leaders, and then any tiny loss of time on that pit stop for the top 5 could see them slot in behind this battle here. This is the cars that have made their pit stop, clear that, and then are hoping to do an undercut on the leaders. It was, what, 10.3 from Partridge on that lap just gone. That was 4 tenths quicker than Mostert all the way out in the race lead. That's the kind of thing that they just need to keep up for the next 5 laps or so until whenever Mostert and etc. pit. Michael Skurlock is going to leave the lead pack. Then there were 4. So he's come from 5th and he's decided, now's my time to do something different to those 4 and try to outfox them.
Just trying to set my timing to the exact amount of time they lose in the lane plus their stop time. So that can give us a bit of an actual guide on where or how long the pit stop they want to have. I mean, we're going to know because 38 seconds from Partridge to the lead when Skurlock came in. Skurlock still stopped, and top guys in this group just about to come over and cross the start finish line.
I think the delta's got to be somewhere between 35 to 38 seconds, probably slightly shorter than 38, but we are going to find out because Skurlock is past the end of the pit lane speed limit on the rejoin and getting up to speed on the track as well, and he's well down the road from these guys as well. So I think the delta is probably about 35.
Plus 29.9 seconds on this lap and 2.6 on the previous, so it's like 32 and a half.
Okay, even better delta than I would have thought. That would say that Mostert, Howe, Jesus and Dance are all well clear of Partridge and Gardner, but it still relies on the unknown of them finding their pit box right, not getting caught speeding on pit lane, not getting unsafe pit entry, any of those things where the ability to make a mistake in the pit lane is so much greater than your ability to make a mistake out on the track.
Out on the track too, they've got this other issue now, which is lap traffic. They're right in the middle of a big bunch of lap traffic. I think that's why Skurlock decided to pit. He saw what was coming up and what they were going to be battling with. And this is a scary moment for 2 reasons for these guys. 1, they're going to lose ground. And 2, the unknown of a slower driver. Are they going to see you when you try and make the move past? Are they going to let you through? And are they going to be able to let you through cleanly is the other part of it too. We've seen all sorts of bizarre issues, not only in this series, but in other series as well, where lap down cars trying to get out of the way and they cause a bigger mistake than if they had just held their line and ran the normal racetrack.
So that's past pit entry for all that top 4. No reaction whatsoever to what Skurlock has done. No reaction to the track either. Yeah, first 109s that we've seen all race long, is it not?
It is. So 109.804, the fastest lap of the race there from Joseph de Jesus. So he is well and truly flying on a mission. This is getting messy for this lead group now, though.
Yeah, it's cost Ryan Howe as well. You see, he got balked a little bit. Jesus tried to come down the inside, but now they're still too wide with a lap down car picking up that powerful slipstream, trying to mix it up with them a little bit here. Howe gets off the throttle. Dance doesn't know what to do here. This is where we got to keep an eye on what this lap time looks like and on pit entry this time around.
I think they all have to come now. I think they've realised that they're going to lose too much ground with this lap traffic because there's just too much of it now. Saying that, I'm completely wrong. They're all staying out.
Wow. Well, what does this lap time look like? Because they did pick up a bit of time off the traffic the lap before this one, where they got a good slipstream. Now a 10.5 for Mostert. He's managed to work through it pretty cleanly. You know, if he catches them in the right place at the right time, picks the slipstream off the lapped car, then he leapfrogs them and he sets a good lap time. But if they get in his way, then he could lose big time or even get damaged. So he's playing the risky game by staying out and just, you know, betting on black on the roulette wheel every time.
Yeah, 100%. He's taking the risky option, but Skurlock's taking the safer option, but it has cost him a bit of ground. That time just gone by, 10.7. So 3/10 lost by Skurlock in that lap. Partridge pretty much the same time. Gardner, Verney, Hancock all the same time as well. So everyone's sort of lapping in the same sort of bracket at this stage in that top 10 group of drivers. Car's trying to get out of the way. That is not one of the lead group pitting. A lap down car just trying to get out of the way. I think that was Mick Taylor getting out of the way there.
Oh, Thrind is stuck together. Look away if you're of a sensitive disposition. They are nose to nose, and yeah, I think they might have got their like tongue piercings stuck together. Here's what's happened. Frind's around the outside. Skeller is in green, and that's Hetterscheid on the right. Skeller's trying to pick and choose his lane, and those wheels are going to touch, right? Yep. And then stuck together, tangled.
Suspension into its plane, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it is for Hetterscheid and Frind. They try to get untangled. Both of them chuck it in reverse gear. They try to pull apart, and it is just not happening. It's like those missing patrol ads they used to have. Except I think the Nissan Patrol had a bit more torque, was the point of the ad, than these poor little things.
Probably both blow as much smoke as each other. Oh, here we go.
Yep, there it is. Mostert's going for the lane. The other three stay out. They're picking up a slipstream off a lapped car. Is Jesus, Howe, and Dance. And Mostert is in the right place at the right time to dive in without anyone else being able to follow him. There they are out on track, trying to go down the inside of the traffic at Cops. Mostert's going to know where his pit garage is because it's going to...
He's the only one.
Yeah, it's going to be somewhere between 1 and 5, isn't it? So here he goes, the garage number 2. And he's in, front of the car goes up. It's kind of nice, you get to see the suspension travel from that shot. And the tyres take 15 seconds or so to change. That's probably still a pretty good time for a Formula V team. Here's Skurlock. And I suspect, yeah, Mostert's already down off the jacks, Mostert's already out of the lane. He got maybe a little fortunate, played the traffic well, was absolutely key to Mostert's lead gap as well.
Got about 4 seconds over Skurlock. Very, very good hit in and pit out for Mostert. And judging by Mostert's loss of time from hit in as well, pit delta around about 31.5 seconds. So he was actually a bit quicker. We saw Skurlock as Ryan Howe decides, Cameron Dance decides his time to come in now.
Just 4 cars left that haven't stopped. Jesus, Ryan Howe, Kirk Broadhurst, and Theo Taylor. So the split, what was a very compact top 5 pack, they've all decided to pit now on different laps, and these two stay out. Well, look at the times that they are doing compared to Mostert. It's going to come around to complete another lap. We're probably going to need one more lap for Mostert here before we get a true picture of how his pace is doing, but the laps are counting down. There's only 4 more of them to go. Long stop for Dance compared to Mostert as well. Dance is only just leaving his stall now. Mostert's swooping around the outside of Cops, and I think Chaz has left Cam Dance quite a way behind.
At about 2.5 seconds, so between them, maybe 1.5 seconds. Theo Taylor in between them, not yet pitted in that 793 car, so he has to come in. And our lead 2 now have to come in. They've only got this lap or the next one to actually hit, so either they better come in now. If they leave it any longer, find themselves on the sharp end of the penalty stick.
Again, look at them driving down the middle of the pit lane. They don't know where their crew is. Their crew is going to be on the far side of where that bridge gantry support cuts in the next set of garages. It's going to be where you qualified. Now, the pole sitter is actually sharing his box with someone who's retired from the race. No such problems for Ryan Howe. That might have just hurt Jesus's, confidence to hit his marks, or maybe it's a ghost car that told him exactly where his marks were. Now it's only Broadhurst who hasn't stopped. Good time through the lane there.
Great stop for Jesus.
He's ahead of Ryan Howe. He's ahead of Mostert, and I think Mostert's going to slot right in the middle here, isn't he?
Yep. There's 1.1 seconds between them, so that's within drafting range for those guys. Kirk Broadhurst will be the last driver to come in and make his stop. This is going to be Broadhurst giving a bit of TV time while he's in the lead, because being in the lead in one of these series, regardless of if you have done it by being the fastest car or being the most strategic, doesn't matter. Leading a lap in this field, very, very well done. Kirk Broadhurst into the pits, and he'll have the lead for about another 50. He'll officially lead a lap as well.
There he will, yeah. Timing line comes up quite quickly in the pit lane. He's also on the hunt with the binoculars looking for his pit crew. Second and third now is what this battle becomes. Dance, much warmer tyres than Ryan Howe, who's only just completing his outlap. Dance wants to catch Chaz Mostert. Almost 3 seconds up the road now. I think is that him immediately in front, or is there some traffic? I think there's some traffic in between as well.
Traffic. The 1.5 seconds between Mostert and Dance now, so probably out of reach. Kirk Broadhurst is just about to finish his stop. He'll stay around the top 10. Have a look at the advantage that Mostert got with that draft on that last lap. 10-2 for his first flying lap after his pit stop for Chaz Mostert. Very, very good lap.
Dance and Howe come together. Third and fourth.
That's the championship leader. He looks like he's done.
Yeah, Dance has continued. Ryan Howe, I think, is on the toe hook right now. This was them battling of third and fourth. Dance on some cold tyres. Howe also on some even colder tyres. They've come around side by side through cops into the braking zone here. Dance. Oh, I think that car just understeers for Howe. And
I feel the same.
he's on his first proper flying lap on a new set of front tyres. The pressure is just not there. He tries to put on the brakes and make it turn at the same time. And cold tyres don't want to do either of those things. They definitely are difficult to convince to do both at once. We start the final lap. Chaz Mostert looks down the inside of Jesus, takes the lead away, and this really sets up the 97 to have to take that lead back on the Wellington straight. One weave. We're up to 3, now 4, as Mostert knows the job he's got to do to try to hold onto the lead. Wide arcing entry, throttle open early, trying to push on, runs a little wide onto the Wellington straight, and this is the opportunity for DeJesus. He needs to strike. He's going to be forced to go around the outside. One more braking zone, 3 more corners till the checkered flag on the feature race in OZICAR Formula Vee. He's got his nose in front. He's around the outside. He'll have more tyre temperature. Mostert throws it in so deep. Just keeps it on the road. How did he make that work? He's going to hold on to the lead, and I think there's no opportunity left for DeJesus to try to fight back. It'll be close at the timing line. It'll be a drag race. The line comes up pretty quick, and Chaz Mostert is going to clean sweep Silverstone National if he can make it to the line in time. And they make contact after the timing line. Mostert, a winner, is on his lid.
An official gap, only 0.05 of a second. It's on for 50 here too. This is Reese Gardner, Lee Partridge, Nathan Verney all together. And
Gardner's
Reese
held on to
Gardner
that
got it by just under 1/10 of a second. That 3-car battle. We've got more battles going on. Mikey Hardland and Braden McDermott here as well, with Theo Taylor not too far behind as well. So some really cool battles the whole way through. Look how good's that finish there. Chaz Mostert just holding on. And I'll tell you what, you asked him last week about his pit stop and getting a clean sweep. Well, he's listened to you and he's done it.
The sweep, how clean is it if you finish the race on your lid like that?
Oh, I don't think it matters. You take it out however you can.
Maximum championship points for Chaz Mostert. You can see a lot of other drivers still finishing here, but that won't take long because it's not a huge lap. Here the drivers are almost a lap down. One of the Guintinis there.
Guintini just got past Matthew Joy.
Yeah. 2 T's in front of 1 T on the Matthew battle.
Go with the 1 T. Maybe you needed that extra T to give him a bit extra, like you need the higher T. golf sometimes give you that bigger tee shot. Get a bit extra distance. That was a terrible, terrible attempt.
Yeah, a little over my head, to be honest.
Those golfing people out.
Yeah, I don't think Simon Feigel's watching.
Probably not.
Well, he could be. Him and Chaz go back a bit.
Yeah.
Regardless, Chaz has gone forward a bit in today's race from second on the grid to take the win in the feature race, and making a little bit of contact as they came across the checkered flag there with Joseph De Jesus. Here's your heads up to try to queue up one of them replays, Jay. And Michael Skurlock completes the podium. That's good for his championship aspirations there, that he's managed to bag a couple more points here. Same for Dance in fourth, Maurice Gardner in fifth, then Lee Partridge, Nathan Verney, Dennis Hancock, Jamie Skeller, and the top 10 is Kirk Broadhurst. Let's run through the rest here then as well. Plenty of drivers means I've got to read out plenty of names. Simon Clayson, Stuart Crawford, Mikey Harlan, Brady McDermott, and well, it went away. Oh, but it's back! Theo Taylor, Jeremy Bush, Vic Ben Felton, Stafford Marsland, Rick Berger, Paul Ward. That is the top 20. And then still on the lead lap was Callum Heinrich, Leon Williams, Ray Oliver, Matthew Quintini, and Matthew Joy. Their little battle, the last cars on the lead lap. So easy to fall off the lead lap around a short 1 minute lap like this. Then Ryan Howe, Aaron Quintini, Matthew Harriott, Mick Taylor, Philip Howe, and the remaining drivers starts to get into the retirements. Only one lap down for Daniel Hederscheid in 31st. Then it's 2 laps down for Aaron Freund, and 4 laps down for Chris Noble, and then you're basically looking at retirements then for Sean McKenzie, Max Donnelly, Ira Felberg, Jake Kostecki, Ashley Knowles, Ryan Jones, and Ryan Simpson. Gosh, there's some big names in that retired final 5. Well, here is the replay of how the lead finished. You were not going to try to take that win away from Chaz Mostert. He pulled out every single thing he had. Forces De Jesus around the outside wide, and then you might almost consider that a block, and that's how Mostert ends up on his lid. The spinning top, Gravel catches it, and even that's not enough to put him back on his wheels. I lost count of the rotations there. We're past 720. Put him down for Olympic skateboarding in Brisbane 2032. And that kind of starts bringing us towards the end of OZICAR Formula V at Silverstone. 2 races completed. Chaz Mostert takes the win in both. And what a good sport. He's standing by once again. Still a bit dizzy after that finish?
Yeah, I didn't know how far the finish line was up the road, but clearly when I was on my roof, I did see it. So I know for next time, that's for sure.
In different party vision, but it was still there. You take the 2 wins this round. Apparently, we caught you practicing plenty of that pit entry, and it really, really worked out. It was the key part of your feature race today.
Yeah, I reckon I was still a little bit, probably a little bit cautious still in there, but that's all right. You don't want to give it away all in the pit lane, but I thought actually I was going to get dropped, but look, yeah, I'm super, super happy with the 2 Ws tonight. I was pretty lucky in the first one, and I was very lucky to be in tow range with Joseph after his super quick stop. So yeah, he was the one that probably deserved the win tonight. I think he was probably the fastest out there, but as you see in these cars, it's a bit of strategy with towing as well.
Really short layout here at Silverstone National. Almost reminds me of maybe Alton Park Foster's layout. You've only really got 4 corners around here. I mean, every corner's got to be perfect then, doesn't it?
Yeah, the series in general is really quite cutthroat. You know, this one obviously, like you said, less corners, and you've got to be a bit more consistent. And you really that last quali into that last race is super hectic to try and get a lap time to put you up the front. So, yeah, look, it's a towing game. I'm a bit surprised we didn't probably at the front of the pack tow a bit more and strategically try to pull away from each other, but like the last round. But no, I had a great race anyway.
wind back to that sprint race, you were in the pack there as well. It was an even bigger pack, and everything kicked off in your mirrors once you managed to leave them behind.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. I mean, everyone was fighting for second. I think they, like, mid-race, they thought that there was one lap coming up and you want to be second, but and then they all fought pretty hard for second, and then that just gave me that 1 second gap, and then I was very lucky. So take them when you can get them. Normally I'm on the wrong end of it, so tonight I was on the right end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Stuck with the Doge car. You said you hope it'd bring you a bit of luck. Maybe that's worked.
Yeah, it went pretty good last week, and it's gone pretty good this week. So yeah, look, I'm really happy racing in the series. There's some really great guys on there, and you know, sometimes you rub and you race, and it doesn't matter even in the practices or anything. Everyone's just really happy to be part of the series and enjoying their racing. And it's not very often you don't race a series and people get into each other a bit too hard on the voice chat. So yeah, I'm just really enjoy being part of the series.
Well, I don't know what to say to you this week other than, you know, congratulations. Stepped it up one more notch, picked up a big bag of points, and yeah, some trophies to go with that Bathurst one.
Yeah, and hopefully some style points for rolling across the finish line. So yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, indeed. We're saying we hope we're going to see you for Olympic skateboarding at some point.
I don't think so. I think there's some better young talent out there in the Olympics at the moment. But yeah, just also want to thank the other guys at the front for a great race. You know, Joseph, Cameron, and Michael. Those boys were on it and just really enjoyed the race. So thanks for the competition.
Well said. Appreciate watching your race and appreciate you always making the time to be a good sport and have a chat. We'll catch you next week if you're free. And
Cheers,
you go
guys.
well.
I hope so. We'll see what I don't even know what next week's track is. I take it 1 week at a time.
Well, I'll let you and all of our viewers get clued in to tell you we're racing at Imola.
Probably got to end up buying that, but I'm sure we'll get it for next week if I can race.
Cheers. Catch you around.
Cheers, guys.
Go. Double race winner tonight, Chaz Mostert, and some of those drivers he was saying really made him work for it, but gave respectful space and were good racing. Are also hanging out for an interview. We go to Joseph De Jesus as well. I mean, how'd you see that last lap there against Chaz?
Oh, it was pretty close. Just tried to get into the slipstream, but yeah, just couldn't pull out. Didn't have enough speed down the back straight to get the move done, and he held it off.
I see you with a 16.4 second pit stop. I don't see another soul out there with a faster pit stop than yours today. What was the secret there? You just nailed the marks?
Oh, really? Yeah, I guess so. My pit stops have been pretty slow in the past, I think. So I guess I just got lucky this time and hit my marks perfectly, and just got a quick pit stop like the Red Bull guys in real life.
Well, it worked very well to keep you in the top positions when that top 5 pack that existed for the first half of the race broke up through the pit stops. It then really just became you and Chaz for the win in the race, and that means, I mean, you didn't grab the win, but you still picked up some great points and solidly on the podium.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that's just the main goal, I guess. The slipstream is basically a slipstreaming game throughout the whole race, and you got to be in it to have a chance at the win. But yeah, unfortunately, it just didn't work out, and Chaz just had an awesome race.
A lot worse people you could lose out to as well, I reckon.
No, definitely not.
Well, any thoughts about Silverstone National here? I mean, it looked really flat out. You could almost be racing on an oval this week.
Yeah, it was basically like a flowing track. You're kind of full pedal all the way. But if you did get a foot wrong, the rear would usually come out from beneath you, and it'd be hard to catch. But yeah, as long as you got your lines right, your braking markers right, you're in a good spot. But yeah, as long as basically in the race, as long as you kept within the toe, it'd keep you in it for sure anyway.
Still huge grids, 40 cars on a short circuit like this. Played it into the pit strategy a bit, I reckon. Did it force you to pit a little earlier, that you were catching some of the traffic? What were your thoughts around that?
Yeah, basically just wanted to hold out as long as I could, and it worked out okay. We were getting some big toes from some of the lap cars, so I think that kind of worked to our advantage and kind of hindered the guys that pit early. Yeah, luckily there wasn't any accidents in front of us, so the toes that we got actually worked out for us better.
Well, we'll see you at future rounds of OZICAR Formula V then. Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just thank the competition, the organisers, and again, Mikey and Chill Out Motorsports for the drive in the series.
Easy as. See you around.
See you, boys.
And then a driver completing the podium today in the feature race, and also, well, it's really up there in the points championship as well. How was your evening, Mr. Skurlock?
Oh, g'day, mate. Awesome, mate. Awesome. It's hard to get into this commentary box, so anytime I can get in here, it's awesome.
Well, when there's 40 drivers, your mathematical chances are a bit slim at the start of the night. But then, was it just the strategy after the, pit stops started unfolding that got you into third?
It's a bit of luck and unfortunate luck for other people that got me into third at the end there. But I could have just stayed with the pack. There was 5 of us in a bunch that we sort of took off, and it was getting a bit, I was sitting at the back. Like, you can't really. If I could have tried to make it up to the front, but then you just get drafted back. So I was just sitting there. And I just thought, they're catching up to lappers. I'll just pit and try and undercut and see if it works. Obviously didn't, but then Ryan and Cameron got into each other on the second last lap, and I managed to sneak through and get into third. So I'm happy with that, man. It was good fun. Like, it's amazing fun in these cars out there, I'm telling you.
Take the positions how you can get them without wishing too much misfortune on everyone. You got a smile on your face, you got a smile on your helmet. There's some interesting helmets and liveries out there. I think the Spider-Man for Jesus, Dogecar for Chaz, and you're wearing your smile for all the world to see.
Yeah, it looks ridiculous when I see it back, mate. But I forget that it's on there, to be honest. I've had that on there for years, so I've just forgotten about it.
Yeah, you're loaded on for maybe some of the closed cockpit cars. No one really sees it, but then here in the Formula V, there's not a lot to them. You're a bathtub with 4 wheels on and exposed to the world. We've seen cars, tangle together very easily with the nature of these cars. No side pods on them, short nose, short tail. How does that let you, race close with the wheelbase you've got, or are you very conscious not to tangle wheels with anyone?
Me personally, I'm very cautious of not getting into people. I don't do well with the feeling after hitting somebody and taking them out, so I try to stay clear. But it's so easy to get into each other in these cars that it's ridiculous that there's not more crashes, to be honest. But the quality of drivers up front, it's amazing that you can really run side by side. Everyone gives each other enough room to maneuver, and then you can tuck back underneath on exit or pass underneath on the inside going into corners, and everyone's behaves real well. So it's good just racing with good quality drivers like that. And yeah, it's, like I said before, man, the amount of fun it is, it's ridiculous.
A lot of puffs of smoke come off these cars when the drivers go for a gear change. If you're running 5th in the train, you're going for a lot of visor tear-offs?
Oh, no, mate. I've got the VR on, so it fogs up a bit, but that's about as much as I get doing ripping tear-offs.
Well, congrats, 3rd in the feature race, and we'll hopefully see you next week at Imola. Who are you going to thank?
I thank the Locked On iRacing podcast. I just recently signed up with them. My teammate Nathan Verney, the BMX Bandits. They know who they are. You guys for putting this on, and Ira for setting up the league. It's good that this thing's taken off and getting drivers in like Chaz and Joseph. Like I said, they're awesome drivers, and it's fun to race against all these guys every week.
Delightful. Thank you to you.
Thank you.
Well, we've had 2 races, 2 qualifying sessions, plenty of post-race replays, a little bit of contact, thrills and spills at Silverstone National. Chaz Mostert has clean swept both races for the first time this season, and for his first time in OZICAR as well. Next week, the championship continues at Imola, a different flavour of circuit, and a bit of a longer circuit than Silverstone National as well. How's that going to play out in the Formula V's on a full Grand Prix layout? You'll have to subscribe to SimSpeed TV on YouTube and all of our other platforms if you want to find out. There is the time and the date for that as well. I've been David Haynes, being joined by Jay Kennedy on the production and alongside me as well. What a round of OZICAR Formula V. Join us tomorrow night for OZICAR Skip Barber Series at Dover as well. The OZICAR action doesn't seem to stop here on SimSpeed TV. Thanks for joining us. See you then. Good night.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top. Oh my God! Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys, I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?